Welcome to the Wexford Football League show. Tonight, myself and Nicky are joined by Peter Doyle, and we're going to have a chat about all things Wexford soccer and a bit about the Leinster competitions. Welcome to the show, Peter.
Thanks, Aidan. Thanks very much. Great to be here again.
As head of Leinster, you must have been a proud man last Wednesday night, seeing Wexford lift the Leinster trophy for the first time.
Well, look, anyone in Wexford football that has been around for a long time would have been delighted to see it. Fine trophy in honour of probably who would have been Mr. Wexford Soccer, Pat Whitty himself. Great performance by the Wexford team as well. Like, that's a decent Carlow team. I know the conditions were difficult. Like, it really couldn't rain much harder during the game. Pitch started to cut up quite badly, but they stuck to the task. They won 3-1. Now they're playing Sligo Leitrim at home on Sunday, which I think is in Curracloe at 3 o'clock. And then if they're fortunate enough or good enough to get through that, they have a home draw against Mayo in the semi-final.
Would you be enlighten us how strong the Sligo Leitrim League would be?
Well, look, they're in the quarter final of the national competition, so they're not going to be bad. They came second in Connacht. They were beaten by Mayo in the Connacht final. So they'll put up a test. The only thing, I suppose, look, in all these competitions, FAI Junior, all them, home draws are very, very important. And like Sligo Leitrim have a long journey. They were planning on coming down, I think, overnight for Saturday night and playing early Sunday, but for whatever reason they decided then now they're coming down on Sunday. That's why the 3 o'clock kickoff. And I think it's a long journey. You'd be hopeful that Wexford would, but they're not coming down to make up the numbers. They will come down to give it the best shot they can.
Would their club teams be getting to the latter stages of the FAI competitions, or?
No, not really. No, they had a couple of clubs a few years back who probably got to the last 64-32, but they wouldn't be regular. No.
That's a long travel on the day, Nicky. Something I wouldn't be keen to if I was over team, I have to say.
No, but then again, you look at everybody's giving out the cost of hotels and things like that. So to travel with a big squad, I'm sure they're bringing down 25 to 30 people. It would be expensive on any league to foot that bill for the day that's in it. But look at bringing it down to Curracloe. You'd be hoping our lads will get over the line in it, and they have a great character being a home again in which you'd hope that it could get back out to Ferrycarrig Park for the semi-final. And it'd be look at, they're only a couple of games away now from maybe being a national final, so they've 2 home draws, so everything is falling right for them.
Yeah. So we're saying, Peter, if they win, they have the Mayo League in the semi-final. Mayo or summer soccer, or should I say calendar year?
Calendar season, yeah. Yeah, look, and Mayo will be a strong league as well. Like, obviously they have Castlebar Celtic, Westport. Like, they would have stronger clubs probably involved, clubs that would be kind of used to playing at this level on a regular basis. So I think Mayo will also, but once again, they have a long journey ahead of them. It depends whether they want to come down the night before. But with Nicky made a good point, because I think it was Sligo Leitrim's intention to come down Saturday, and I think probably hotel prices and organisation and stuff like that would have. But to be fair to them, I've seen the itinerary they put together to come down for next Sunday, and like, it's very well organised. They're leaving good time. They're stopping along the way. They're having pre-match meals. They've organised themselves quite well, and I'm sure if Wexford are lucky enough or fortunate enough to get through to play Mayo, I'm sure Mayo will be very well organised in the same way.
Yeah, I seen the itinerary as well. It was given to us on, I think it was actually Pádraig showed me the other day that obviously somebody in Leitrim, Sligo Leitrim, is good at organising and professional and getting things like that set out. So yeah, like, I know they'll be travelling, but there'll be well breaks in between, and kick-off is not till 3 o'clock, so if they get down 1:30, there's plenty of time to freshen up. You have Hotel Curracloe there just beside them if they really wanted to go and get something to drink or whatever before they head in to play the game.
And another Wexford interleague team, the ladies team, doing well in the outside competitions, Peter?
Yes, look, under the managership of Kevin Murphy, they've reached the Leinster final. We run an interprovincial or interleague competition in the province every year. Wexford actually got to the plate final of it last year and they won that. So they've actually gone up 2 steps this year and got to the main final itself, the actual cup final, where they'll be playing the Eastern Women's Football League, which is basically the Dublin League. It'll be a big test for them. It's on the 3rd of March in Evergreen's pitch in Kilkenny. But look, they'll be well prepared for it.
The Astro,
and it'll be on the Astro, yeah. And they'll be well prepared for it. It's the bulk of the Ferns team, because like Ferns obviously are the strongest club we have in the league. And but look, they'll give it a go.
Yeah, they are the strongest. I see they beat their closest rivals, Seaview, 4-0 at the weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, that's it. You see, that just shows how strong they are. Like, they're the only Wexford team left in the Leinster Junior Women's Cup as well.
Got to the final of that last year, didn't they?
They got to the final of that last year and came up against a very good Terranure team. Were beaten 4-0, but they gave a good account of themselves. I think 4-0 was probably not the true reflection of the game. They did create chances. It was just probably Terranure's experience of playing at that level was what. So, but like, well, they'll be well able to give this game against the Eastern women's team a go on the 3rd of March. So wish them the best of luck.
And the women's league in general and the schoolgirls, how's it? We had Paul in here a couple of weeks ago talking about the men's section. How's that going?
Well, we're having the same problems as probably most of the country. Unplayable pitches, games being called off. Like, we had probably 50% of our games last Saturday went, and we had only 5 of our 12 games on Sunday got played. And obviously they're on the better pitches, and some of them, like, even to be fair to Ferns, like, they had 2 games. The men's team, I think, played a 11 and the women played a 1/2, both of them on the same pitch, and survived, so it got on well. But yeah, numbers are good. The league, the standard of the league has gone up a lot. Our underaged interleague squads that play in the SFAI interleague competitions are all doing very, very well.
Gainer Cups, is it?
Yeah, well, there's 12s, 13s, 14s, 15s and 16s. The 14s are the Gainer Cup. So they're the ones that are preparing for that. They play an interleague competition, and they're in the final of the Shield competition, I think is what they've reached. But our under-13s are probably the team that probably excel the most in that regard. They're playing in the semi-final against Galway on the 3rd of March as well, of the Cup competition, which is the top competition. And that's actually the same group of players that won the under-12 National Cup last year as well. So great hopes for them.
Yeah, we're one of the biggest leagues outside of Dublin, would we?
We are the biggest league outside of Dublin, yeah. Eastern Women Football League is the biggest, just by fact it's in Dublin, and we're the second biggest. Cork would be fairly decent size as well, but we're well up there. Look, there's good interest. What we're finding now at this point is that the clubs are now more established. They're a little bit more. One time you'd have a club coming in, it'd be gone again in a year, or maybe gone in 2 years. But now we're finding that clubs are coming in, and they're coming in with more of a long-term plan. They're putting in underage teams behind them. They're building up all the time. So, and I think that's a...
Clubs are starting to have the full structure now in the girls section, isn't it? From under 10s right up every year.
Yeah, and we even do under 9 blitzes. So yeah, it's great in that regard.
It's a massive achievement, really, when you look at they talk about the men's league is the second biggest league outside of Dublin, and then for the women to be on the same pathway, it's a massive feat for County Wexford in general, and it shows how much football is played down here.
Look, we are one of the biggest participations, even in sports, of all sports, in the country. And like, even the schoolboys league, we can't forget them as well. Like, I think they're massive as well. Like, I think they're the 5th biggest, and that's coming in behind the likes of Cork, DDSL, NDSL, all that sort of thing. So it's even a great achievement for them. So look at it's but it's a big county, I suppose. But it's a sporting mad county and well known for that.
And just going back to the local side of stuff here, do you still do the the fixtures and that side of things as well for the ladies?
Yep, we do. I do the fixtures, I do the referee allocation, and I do the results then and reports when they come in on the Sunday or Saturday and Sunday.
And how is it tough? Like, I know the men probably have the first call on a lot of the pitches and things like that. Is it tough for you then as a fixture secretary for the fixtures? You have to wait until, say, the men's league is out, and then before you look at referees and things?
Yep. Now, I'm lucky in one regard is that I actually have about 7 or 8 referees that
just do ladies.
Just doing us. So that's a big, big help. And to be fair to most of the clubs that enter women's teams now, and women's teams in particular, they the club accept the fact that they're there, and they know that they're going to need a pitch slot at some time. So once I get the fixtures the fixtures are done. When I do the fixtures then, or when I get the men's fixtures on Monday morning then from Porrig, I'm able to allocate the times to the matches, and away they go. Now, look, I have to give credit as well, and I'll probably get in trouble if I don't, is that it's starting to get, one time it would have been looked on as me, but now I have a good committee around me. And like, even last week we had a family bereavement, and Aisling Kavanagh and Claire Gaffney took up the mantle, and they're now gone very good at doing it and very experienced, and they do it.
So you're getting the elbow,
more or less. I think I'm being quietly pushed aside, but I haven't realised it yet. But I'll wonder someday why I have nothing to do because I'm gone. But look at you need that as well. You need that,
definitely, because you, like, one person can do so much, but you definitely need good people coming behind you.
And then just moving on to the League of Ireland side, they're under the Wexford FC umbrella this year for the first time. What will that mean for them?
For the women
in women's team, yeah.
Well, look, it gives them an inclusion into the club. It gives a kind of more of a I suppose, internally in the structure of the club now, they're probably going to be. They were always treated well, I think, anyway. But it just gives that little bit more credence to it.
Yeah, and there'll be Robs competing up around the top. Expect the same from them this year.
I would expect they had a bad season last season by their own standards.
Yeah,
and it still wasn't a bad season, but it's just bad by their standards. We expect them to start kind of pushing back up now and rebuilding and going back up again.
Yeah. And we wish them all the best in their season starting in 2 weeks' time.
Sure. Look, the men's have started and the women's are starting in 2 weeks. Yeah,
and definitely like to wish Kevin and his team. Maybe we might be able to get some of them in before that big game on, when is it?
The 3rd of March in Evergreen.
So we might even get them in after. It's after sneaking up on us now, but it's a massive achievement to them. I know Kevin really well. He has his own bits and pieces going on in a minute, but we wish him the best of luck.
Yeah. Move on to the results. The competition, you know well, Peter, the LFA Junior Cup. Rosslare losing out 10-1 to Clonmullion as a team. Myself and Nicky were off for 2 weeks ago against Ferns, but they've since then beaten a Wexford team 4-2 and 10-1. So would there be a surprise package in it now at quarter final stage?
I wouldn't go as far as saying a surprise package now. They're in the last 16 now, and they have a very tough draw in the next round. They're home to Old County, and some people are looking at Old County who are from the Brickfields area, like Drimna from Dublin, and they're looked on as probably one of the favourites for the competition. So that'll be a big game. It'll be interesting to see how far they went. Like Clonmullion come from the Kildare League, who are a summer league, so they're effectively playing out a season.
Calendar year.
No, we'll say summer season for now. We'll stick with it.
That's not what Mark Caplan was saying.
They're effectively they're playing out a season, which is difficult for them. But they've got through it. I was actually surprised that the Rosslare Rangers would be decent enough, but 10-1 was probably flattering for Clonmullion.
And probably the biggest surprise this weekend in that competition was one of the favourites for the Evergreen losing out 4-2 to Wexford Bows. You were at this game, Nicky?
Yeah.
Todd Hines getting all 4.
Yeah, fair play to Todd.
Surely get a call up, will he?
He's called up.
That's good.
He's starting, I heard.
That's good.
In the goal. No, look, I was down at it, and in fairness to Wexford Bows pitch, there was a lot of confusion about whether it was going to be on the Astro or whether it was going to be down on the grass pitch down in Drina. Bows brought him down to Drina. The pitch held up fairly well, in fairness to it, and I'm going to be honest with you, Wexford Bows were full value for it. Gary Marr won't be too happy now. I thought Evergreen were very poor. I thought they were average. To be honest, I expected a hell of a lot more out of him. I thought they were a little bit maybe one-dimensional. Like everything was trying to get to Mikey Drennan, and he was just knocking it over the top. Just didn't seem to work. To be very, very disappointed with at least 3 of the goals they conceded. The 2 centre halves who, to me, looked like they were well over 6 foot, and all there were was long balls by Dylan Cloak straight over the top, and Todd ran straight onto him. And in fairness with Todd, he had 4 finishes, and 4 of them were excellent strikes. He really is one of the players on form in the county at the minute. He was excellent, and I'm not just singling out Todd. Thought Dermy Flood was excellent in the second half.
So I think, didn't he?
Yeah, Dylan was quite strong in the goal. Dylan Owens, he done everything fairly commanding, and I can't think of the chaps. He was in centre midfield. Is it Pittman? I think that's his name. Anyway, he was centre midfield anyway. And he covered every inch of grass for Bows on the day. And worked really, really hard. So, Bows were full value for it. Evergreen, I spoke to Peter earlier on today, they would have aspirations of Leinster Juniors, FAIs and things like that. They're forever winning in Kilkenny. So, I'd say they're absolutely disgusted leaving it, and they would have to be disappointed with the performance.
On that, I was saying they're alls for the FAI and Leinster's, and we had Nicky on the phone last week. Remember, he said that he was kind of half weary of Evergreen after being bet by Michaels, but I think it was probably a good time to catch him, because I think they had a hangover from that Michaels game, because I know they would prioritise Leinster and FAI, but they probably prioritising FAI over Leinster, I'd say. Evergreen, and I'd say that was disappointing to lose to Michaels, I'd say. And
I think the timing went really badly for him as well. This time 2 weeks ago, they were actually still in 3 competitions, outside competitions. They were still in the Leinster Senior Cup, they were still in the FAI Junior Cup, and they were still in the Leinster Junior Cup. So I think just the timing, and Wexford Bows, as we all know down here, they're never going to be easy. So the timing for Evergreen probably to have to come down to play Wexford Bows was shocking for them. Like, and probably I can well believe the Wexford Bows were good value. But Evergreen would have had great aspirations for possibly, yes. Either of them probably. Look, at every club will always go for the FAI over the LFA, but the LFA is definitely a good consolation prize.
Oh, it's a great consolation prize, isn't it?
And we've 4 Wexford teams left in the last 16. 1 all Wexford tie, Wexford Bows again Bunclody. So we're definitely going to have 1 Wexford team in the quarter final. Across the beggar away to Navan.
Park Villa.
Navan.
Yeah.
North Ender waiting.
North Ender actually, Trinity Donamead
or St. Eat.
and Trinity Donamead actually beat St. Eates on penalties, but it's gone to a protest and now it's going to an appeal. So there will be.
There seems to be an awful lot of them kind of protests in the Leinster Junior and FAI, don't it?
Well, sure, people are always going to go for whatever. It's an opportunity, and then as everything becomes more electronic as regards registrations and information, it's becoming easier and easier to get that information now.
Yes.
Like we had a club throwing out the Leinster Junior Shield because they basically got caught by FAI Connect.
Yeah.
Because from a player that scored a goal on it. So like that sort of information is now becoming a little bit easier to get. So that's why there's so much protests. And then and people are not going to, if you've worked very hard to get to the last 16 of a competition too, you're not going to just pop out if there's any loophole at all. You're not going to just give up on it if something happens.
That's a good thing about the FAI Connect, and it's going to bring a lot more clarity with things and cuts out anyone trying to pull one over someone.
Well, it's one of the plans of it. Like it was even one of the ideas of it when it was actually first brought in as a concept.
It's happened within our own league here in Wexford. The club over the last 2 weeks have lost their own place in the Wexford Cup. Glenbarntown, unfortunately, lost in the Neil O'Sullivan and the Wexford Cup over a player not being registered on time. So it's one of them things, and it probably would have went unnoticed if it wasn't for the FAI Connect.
The Leinster Junior Shield with a couple of Wexford teams left in that. I think Ballymurner in the quarter final.
Actually, the two of them have got Ballymurner and Bree.
Yeah, the two teams that really
they've got each other. Yeah, they got each other. And Escarty Town are still there as well.
They're back in round 3, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, they're back in round 3. Now it's all planned. We have put all together all the fixtures, and hopefully it'll all come together in the month of March that we'll be bound to the semi-finals of it. But probably it's been I think I said it even the last night I was on. It's unfortunate. Now there's a big entry from Wexford goes into the Leinster Junior Shield, so it's probably logical that a lot of them are going to get each other. But I think if Ballymurn actually do win it, then I think they'll have nearly won it without leaving Wexford at the moment.
So what were Ballymurn in the quarterfinal? Is it?
Quarterfinal and Bree.
Yeah, Ballymurn are playing Bree in the quarterfinal.
That'll be a good game now, in fairness.
And from the teams that are left in it, do you think one or two, whoever wins that, could be capable of winning it?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Both of them, they're well in there. Like, it's a very hard look. It's not a competition for a betting man. I have to be honest with you. There's names always pop up out of nowhere that you don't even hear about them, or you don't even know what they're doing, or until you get there and you see how good they are. And you'll even see some big clubs who have maybe just their second team or third team who they'll get so far and then they'll disappear. But there's perennial teams in it. Like going back to Trinity Donamead, like Trinity Donamead's second team, I think it is, they'll be quite strong as well. So like there's still a lot of good teams in it.
We move on then to the Neil O'Sullivan Cup. We'd one back fixture last week. Rathnure had gone out 2 cups now in 2 weeks in a row as well. Losing out to Duncannon 4-2. I suppose the big story there, Nicky, with them is they haven't had their main goal scoring machine Shane Lawler the last 2 games, which shows how important it is.
Yeah, obviously, sure, goals win games, Aidan. So that's why we always put the ball in the other team's 18-yard box and you played in your own 18-yard box. But no, look, it was sure, it's a big loss. Anybody taking the likes of Shane Lawler over a team, you're going to definitely struggle for goals. But look, Duncannon on a bit of a comeback, so I'm sure Rathnure would take to be in the promotion run in Division 2 anyway, so they'd take that every day.
Yeah, move on to the O'Neill's Premier Division. Ajax losing out to Shamrocks 2-0. Another game you're at. Just the woman must be really kicking you out on a Sunday morning, boy.
Sure, look, she's fed up looking at me. So, yeah, look at a fantastic win for Shamrock Rovers, in fairness to them. I won't say it relieves the pressure, but it definitely would relieve a little bit of pressure on a lot of the younger shoulders in that team. Dara Harris actually was very good. He actually played on it looked like Ken had him playing right back, even though he's naturally left-footed, but he was excellent on the day, and we must say congratulations to him after making the under-18 Leinster squad. So congratulations to Dara. Alan Ian Sinnott was rock steady at the back. The wheeled out Garfield. Lee Murphy was
Back in the goal.
back in the Rovers goal. 36 or 37. He won't like me mentioning his age, but Lee was a great goalkeeper for me for a number of years. He was up there in the top 1 or 2 goalkeepers in Wexford for a decade, and he was back and steadied the ship by keeping a clean sheet. Rovers were full value for the win, to be honest with you, and they played all the football. A little bit more composure. They probably could have had an extra goal or two, but look, they would have been more than happy coming out with the 2-0 win. And look, it was great to be up there. Actually, there was a big crowd up, and Ajax was looking really, really well at the pitch, and everything was in top order. So yeah, look, a really good win. Ken actually started Dapo on one of the wings, and he was really good as well. And look, they'll be delighted to get over the line.
Can relax now. He's not in a relegation battle and concentrate on the Oscar Traynors.
No, he can. You can't relax when you manage your Shamrock Rovers. So, and I'll be honest with you, like that while they're very, very young, the one thing Shamrock Rovers won't want to be is become a mid-table team or fighting relegation. Like, it's Ken's job now to make sure that they build on that 2-0 win, and whoever they play in the next couple of weeks, that they're pushing and try finish as high up that table as they can. It's not a great sign for Ajax now. I think they now they have their position nailed in the relegation. But I was talking to a few of the Ajax lads over the couple of weeks. Like, they can't look at it too much as negative either, because they came up out of Division 3 or 3A, and they shot back up through the divisions, and they probably actually came up too quick to catch up with themselves, like, so if they had come up a little bit slower, back up through the divisions and build it every year, it may have helped them. So look, they shot right back up to the Premier. The one thing Ajax have to look at now is when they do slip back down into Division 1, that they don't slip back down to Division 3 or Division 3A. Because if they go down again, it's going to be twice as hard to come back, because they won't be able to rely on your Mossies, your Antos, your Glen Fortunes, your Liam Moores, all of these lads. It's an aging squad. So when they drop down into Division 1, just get solid and make sure that the club doesn't fall, because Ajax are a great club as well. Always had tough battles with them. Did you, Peter?
Oh, always, yeah. But just going back to what you're saying about them coming up really quickly, they were actually in the semi-final of the Leinster Junior Shield in 2019. So like, that's Division 3. So like, and they were unlucky to lose even in that. But like, that's a rapid rise since then. So like, that's credit to them.
Oh yeah.
And out in Ferns and Peter, we had a battle between the two teams that probably whoever won it was going to hang on to the coattails of Northern and Gorey for Celtic 3-0. I think Adam Beery, he could have got 2 in this, I think.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Adam did, yeah, definitely.
Surprised when you heard that transfer? Beery leaving Northern.
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a shock in fairness.
There's 2 Beeries after leaving Northern actually this year. One chap went out to St. Joseph's, Shane. So he'd been cousin of Adams.
Good result for Celtic though. I was a bit surprised by it now myself. Ferns being at home.
Probably a bit surprised by the margin more than anything else. Like, it was always going to be a big game between the two of them. Like, as you said, they're hanging on there to the top 2, and like, they're just behind North End and Gorey Rangers. So that was definitely a big win. I was just surprised at the 3-0 win, because like, Ferns are probably better than that.
For me, it just means that for Celtic are the 3rd best team in Wexford at the minute. I think that should be the top 3. Whether all depends what way North End and Gorey finish, 1 or 2. I think 4th then I'll definitely, with that win, come in probably on 3rd.
You only have to
and it's credit to them.
Yeah, don't have to play Gorey North End once each, don't they? To play them all twice already.
So and it's credit to Fort. They're doing massive work down there with the underage and everything like that. So it's a good club down there. So look, they've done really, really well, and it's a good win, because there's not many clubs going to go to Ferns and beat them 3-0.
No. And another game that was Bunclody 2-2 with mine. Be a good result for Bunclody, Nicky. I think they were 2-1 up here, but probably be disappointed they were 2-1 up, and mine were down to 10 men, I think, for
probably
half
a
hour.
little bit. Look, at mine are within the rules to do whatever you want, but probably did a little bit disappointed that the mine moved it up to Bunclody. So Bunclody had 2 home fixtures to the mine this year. So I know they only picked up a point out of it, but
stop looking for controversy where it's not.
Well, just sure, there could well be controversy. Sure, like if one of the teams are in the relegation battle and they turn around and say Bunclody got 11 home fixtures and we only got 10, So
He's looking for controversy, ain't he?
He is looking for controversy, unfortunately.
He's always looking
But
for
there should be no surprise at that, I think.
Nicky looking
It's
for a
only
dig at
controversy.
Nicky looking for a dig at the mine never.
it's only controversy. So if it does come up, but look, it's a good point for Bunclody. In fairness, the mine are back shoulder to shoulder, as you said, Aidan, a couple of weeks ago. So they're
Fighting for the badge. That's all you can ask from.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. So and look at I think did Bunclody went 2-1 up. I think did they? And the mine
2-1
were
up,
down to 10 men
10
and fought back for a draw. So look at it's a good result in fairness for both clubs.
Yeah, the last game of that was Gorey, continuing their good form, 2-0 winning in Crossbeg. We've a few highlights of that game. So I think we see two good finishes there from Nathan Brennan and Reen Fitzpatrick. A good win for Gorey.
A massive win for Gorey, really, considering the amount of players they were missing. Like I'm not going to keep going on to it, but like obviously they were missing Maloney and Paul Murphy, but they're gone for the rest of the year. But even with that, you'd Ryan Cullen, you'd their two goalkeepers were gone out of it. You'd Ethan Vickers missing. There's loads of players missing. Paul Brennan even played the day before in a Leinster trials match, so I'm damn sure Willie wouldn't have really wanted to throw him in. But look, a massive win for Gorey and that they can be title winning wins, can't it? You know, like you're down to the bare bones, you're going down to a dirty sloppy pitch down across the bag, who were mad up for a game after taking a hammer and by Highgate the week before. So it was a massive win for Gorey.
Especially when you said they're missing players, especially when they're missing them in centre half. You could argue they're missing 4 centre halves, and Paul Murphy, Ryan Cullen, Sean Murphy, and someone else missing, or 3.
Yeah,
I think Conor Castley stepped in again centre half. You seen him playing there the week before.
he was excellent the week before. Look, you can throw him in anywhere. But when you look at it, they were missing, like, they signed the goalkeeper Christmas. He wasn't there. They were missing Keane Brown. He was gone as well. So and then take out all their centre halves as well. So look, it's a massive well done to him. And Conor Bruce came in, got his debut, and I heard he done really well. And I look at to have other good players, but like to take 5 or 6 good players out of anybody, bar probably North End and Gorey. They still have 11 players that could pick up a win, but you couldn't do that with any other squad. But they still had to go out and get the win. They still had to battle against a Crossbeg team, deep in a relegation battle.
Will he be just happy to get that game overdone and get his 3 points? He's no game this week with the Oscar Traynors, Peter, and the big game for them is the following week again at Peakville from Thurles in Gorey. Do you know much about Peakville?
Well, look, once again, we're going back to the last 16 or whatever quarterfinals of the FAI Junior. They're not going to be bad. I know they had a good win against Crumlin in the last round. I think it was. No, they won 6-1 in the last match. They beat Crumlin in the round before that in a back fixture. So they're not a bad side, obviously. But having said that, Gorey Rangers are, once again, I'm going back to the home and away thing. Gorey Rangers are at home. I think that'll stand to them a lot. And they also have, if they're able to get through, then they have a home draw in the semi-final as well. Yeah, I think it's kind of fallen right for them in regards to the way, like, they're getting a bit of a rest this week. Like, that was a difficult match in Crossbeg. Like,
you see, their pitch was heavy as well.
Yeah, any game this time of the year, no matter where you're playing, the pitch is going to start cutting up a little bit, and they came away with their 2-0. That means they're still in the hunt for the league, so they'll be happy with that. So, but I think they are starting to kind of focus now very much on the FAI Junior Cup game.
And just Slam Peakville, there's 3 Tipperary teams in the last day of that. Would Tipperary them arguably the strongest junior league in the country?
No, I still think if there's going to be a winner there, it's going to still come out of Limerick. It's somewhere like that. Now,
2 Limerick teams, then,
yeah, 2 Limerick teams. Now, look at the one people are talking about them, but they're not really watching them. Is Cockhill Celtic from Donegal.
Did they come from those?
They were senior league.
They were
wasn't
Ulster
it?
Senior League, so they're coming back. They didn't lose as many players probably as what people would have thought they were going to lose. So
Were they in the semi-final then FAI Intermediate Cup last year?
they're in the final.
Final.
Yeah. So they're
What price are they, Peter? You're on about betting, man.
Just getting back. So the same players that played that technically are eligible to
Oh
play
yeah,
in the FAI
no,
Junior this year?
they didn't all stay. Some of them, I think there's a couple of them went to Institute in the north, but they still have that kind of backbone of the team, and they're not really. They're the last of the Donegal teams left now. Letterkenny Rovers and Buncrana Harps were still there as well, but they went out in the last round. So like, I don't think. Yeah, there's 6 Munster teams, 1 Ulster and Gorey Rangers. So like, it just shows the strength of it.
Phil did have a good shout 1 or 2 years ago.
If you were to ask me, and I'd go back to Nicky with his little bit of betting, I think Villa would be a good bet for it.
Watford.
Yeah.
Watford,
Yeah.
Gorey Rangers
And
won't
tell
like
me-
me saying that
no.
now, because that's who they might have in the semi-final if they get through.
Over St. Michael's.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, looking at the age profile, I think this could be Michael's last hurrah. They're quite like that evergreen side that they were playing against. I looked at on the FAI Connector, there 2 of them are quite old squads, and I looked at the rest of the squads there over the last couple of weeks. They all seem, a lot of the other squads that are left in the FAI are all in that 30 to 20 bracket. You know, they're carrying very few over 30, where Michael's and Evergreen were, you know. So the venue for that, Peter, you know, for say the final of it, is that fixed already, or
No.
does that wait until you just base it in between?
Wait until they see who's in the final, like, because the chances are again, like, and you have to still give Gorey and Cockhill a chance, and maybe the 2 of them could be the ones in the final. But you're looking at a Munster, like with 6 Munster teams. There's a bet. There's one of them going to be there.
Could just sorry, Aidan, for going to crash you, but could the FAI, or could you knock a door maybe and ask somebody like, for the prestige of it? Like, I thought it was brilliant when it was in the Aviva. Obviously, the cost of the Aviva just to turn
It was prohibitive, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like, but could it be looked at that it was in the next best stadium, say a Tala, or if there's 2 Munster teams down in Turner's Cross, or, you know, something like that?
Yeah, well, like they were looking at the Tala thing, but then what was happening? They found it was being dominated by Munster teams. Now, I think last year's final not in Turner's Cross.
Yeah.
Oh, it actually was, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no, Turner's Cross is always high on the list. Now, Turner's Cross is flat out.
Yeah.
The provincial administrator in Munster actually runs that as well, and he's I'm always talking to him about it, and he has a very heavy calendar down there, even for underage FAI finals, all that sort of thing. But yeah, no, look, it's always good to have the FAI Junior Cup in a good League of Ireland stadium, if at all possible, especially one with a bit of character, a bit of history, all this sort of thing, and it's a great achievement, and like the players love that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
it's a day out.
It's a day out, and it's a look. It all depends who, but they don't decide beforehand, because they could pick Tala, and then you could have
Drag to
2 teams all the way up there for
Kerry or Donegal down
or something
to
like
Tala,
that. Yeah.
Put you on the spot now. As head of Leinster, how come we've only 1 team in the last day?
Has the rest of them got knocked out?
I'm going to, if you want me to answer it, I'm going to divert it away. It's actually not Leinster's.
Well, then I'll put a different way.
No, I'm going to answer it. It's not because Leinster is not good enough. It's because there's them teams that you said you've actually kind of answered it yourself earlier on. There's 3 Tipperary teams, 2 Limerick teams, and a Waterford team. The Munster Senior League is primarily an intermediate, and it's Cork.
Yeah.
So there's no Cork teams in it. So it's not that actually Leinster is weak. It's just that probably you're looking at the teams from Limerick, Tipperary, and Waterford, who probably really should be playing intermediate. If they were in Leinster, they'd probably be playing intermediate.
On an average, then, you know, the regions, you have to come out of your region. In Wexford, it's the Wexford, Kilkenny,
Carlow,
Wicklow.
and Wicklow.
As Leinster as a whole, and are we averaging the same amount of teams coming into the last 64 as the rest, or is Munster higher coming out Munster?
No. It's just we actually go into the last 64 with more. And then we look, because of that as well as going back to what I was saying about the Junior Shield earlier on, we have a tendency to pick one another off, yeah. And then when you hit, now look, this is an unfortunate year with the 6-1-1, but you probably would be looking at 5-3 or 5. Like it's just the way it's all set up now. But we lose the teams as we go.
But it's good, I suppose, in your job over the last couple of years that we have had teams fighting at the very top, because for a long, long time there were very little teams in Wexford achieving anything out of outside of Wexford. But like with North End and Gorey and now the Leinster Junior Shields, like, it must make your job a little easier up there.
I wouldn't say a little
Well,
easier.
not easier,
but you know what? Yeah, I know what you mean. Now, what I would see, what I've seen, like I'm 16 years in the job, what I have seen is a bit of a turn away from, like it was all very Dublin based, like Sheriff, all that sort of thing. And then teams left the AUL to go into the Leinster Senior League to go intermediate. So it took away the likes of the Ushers that just were talking about earlier on, Sheriff, all them, all moved up into intermediate football. So that means then that the Dublin kind of dominance of the competition died away, and that opened the door then for, like, good. Now, to be fair to North End, like North End were knocking on the door for years, always knocking on the door. Like they got to the semi-finals of these competitions several times, got to the quarter-finals. Like they were perennially there. They never got knocked out in the first round. So it's just probably what's after happening now is the gap has opened and the teams are ready to move into it. Like even you have to give credit to the likes of New Oak from Carlow and all them as well. Like they're there as well.
One of the best junior soccer games I've ever seen actually was Ross Celtic in the semi-final down again Michaels in Ferrycarrig a couple of years ago. It was a cracker game. They lost it in
longer than a couple of years ago.
Extra time.
It's 15 years, I'd say, is it?
Yeah, so when they were at the top, they were competing as well.
Yeah, and because I remember that game as well, and I think Ross Celtic had a player sent off in the first minute of extra time. Robbie Farrell, yeah.
Poor man is still going out. Give him mad over it.
Move on into the 4-star pizza Division 1. I'll leave McFarland alone, right?
Oh,
before we get to it. All Blacks 4-3 winners against Barntown. I think we're getting about 3-1 I think on this, weren't they?
Yeah, 3-1, yeah. So just a great win for All Blacks to come back, because Glyn were on a bit of a run of form there, especially since they signed Peter Marsden. Actually, he could be a show for the Oscar Traynors if we're picking on form. There's no better man now. Peter's top of his form at the minute. So yeah, look, it was a great win for All Blacks to come back and to snatch a win, because there's a lot of clubs now gathering up behind Gorey and All Blacks at the top of that table, looking to take a chunk out of them. So that would have been a big loss if All Blacks hadn't have got the 3 points.
And Ross Celtic, after their blip last week, back to win away 7-0 again. Norden, I'm not going to ask Nicky about that because he'll just give poor old Mick a grueler, Peter.
I think Mick was laying carpet on Sunday morning.
Ross will be happy to get back to winning ways.
Of course they will, yeah. And look, they're still well in contention there as well. I think, look, it'll all depend, I suppose, what way it happens with the Gorey Rangers thing, and whether if they win the division or something, the second team can't go up. It's going to be interesting to see how that's all going to materialise, but definitely Ross are going to be involved in it. Yeah,
Ross are going well, aren't they? You know, like in the strength by signing the 2 Foxes. I look at, I'm not going to be hard on Mick this week. From what I'm led to believe, I was talking to a couple of lads down at the Wexford Bows games, and Mick has been let down by a lot of lads there, you know, on that first team. Talking to a couple of lads that said you couldn't ask for any better than Mick.
He must be he's carpet in the pub this week or something.
No, we don't put carpet. Too many spillages. But but the lads were saying that Mick has done a great. He hasn't done a great job, because they're nearly being relegated. But he's wholehearted. He's seemingly some of the sessions and him and Evan are doing, and everything is done for him on the morning. He's probably doing too much for him. Maybe he may give him a kick in the arse and tell him, look, they're playing for North End here. We should be fighting at the top of this division just like Gorey are, and like they have done for a number of years.
And fairness to them, they have been knocking there the last couple of years, so you would give them a bit of a leeway this year. Gorey, second team 2-1 win against Shelbourne. You just mentioned it there. It looks like they're going to finish in the top 3. Do you think it's right or wrong that they can't go up as a B team? They do it in Kilkenny, don't they?
No, not anymore. When Evergreen done it, when Evergreen did get promoted a few years back, they had to change the name of the second team to, I think it was Evergreen 1946, because that's the year they were founded or something. And I think, look, you can't, for the integrity of the competition or in the integrity of any division, you can't have 2 teams from the same club in any division.
Yeah. I agree with you, Peter.
100%.
110%. Like, that's their Premier League. Let them win it for the next 10 years in a row if they're good enough, but I don't think they can come up.
And then move on to the Apex Division 2. Bit of a surprise here, Nicky, and it's Garda United now under Bill Wrigley and Buggy. 3-0 win again. Kilmore.
Yeah, massive win for them, isn't it? You know, they were struggling, but in saying that, they were drawing a lot of games, but look, they're just after tightening up their defence. Gary Murphy, sure, we both know Aidan is
top keeper,
a top goalkeeper. So clean sheet against Kilmore. There's not many goalkeepers in Wexford have done that this year. But look, it's a massive win. They're probably too late to get in any contention. Maybe if they go on a run, they could get back up. Don't forget United were Division 1 last year. So yeah, a bit of a blip for Kilmore there, but it'll be interesting to see how they react. Well, results went their way with Tom Brack.
Yeah.
We'll ask Peter about that in a minute. And Adamstown winning 2-1 again with extra balls. We go to the Tom Brack game then, Peter. What happened?
Well, we don't know.
2-0 defeat.
We always find Cortlow difficult. Like, Cortlow are never going to be a bad side. I could gloss over it and say, well, look at her. Look, after beating Kilmore last week, it probably was a disappointment to go to Cortlow and lose. But Cortlow, we do for some reason, Tom Brack always find, even when I'm going back to many years ago when I used to manage the team myself, I always found Cortlow a hard place to go. Yeah,
and I've only conceded 5 goals all season in the league, then conceded 2 again. Cortlow, I'd say it's disappointing for him. Yeah,
it was disappointing, but look at this. It's a difficult division anyway. You're never going to. Tom Brack are still there, like they're still in the top 3. So like that's Kilmore losing. It didn't do any harm.
And the team most happy with Kilmore and Tom Brack losing. Nicky Joseph's great 4-1 win again. Kilkenny.
Yeah, and look, no matter what way you look at the league table, Josephs are out on top at the minute. I know the other clubs will be saying, we have games in hand, but Josephs have the points. If you look, Rathnure, a bit of a dodgy spell the last couple of weeks. Kilmore now have lost to Tom Brack have lost. So look, the clubs below them are going through a bit of a dodgy spell, and if St. Joseph's keep going, they could well finish in that top 1 or 2 come April, May.
Move on to Betxs Division 3. I called all these results right last week after. Algate continue their good form, 2-1 win against Timon. Camolan beating Enniscorthy Town 3-2. And then the top 2, Ballymurn beating Leonards 3-1. Fastnet beating Gorey 3-0. So looks like it's going to be a 2-horse race there, Nicky, with Fastnet and Ballymurn. And then Camolan looks like they're going to get the 3rd promotion spot.
Well, if you're that good at predicting, then predict who's going to win the league.
Ballymurn.
No, you fancy Ballymurn. They have to go away to Fastnet now.
They're beating them twice already. Sure.
Yeah, it's quite hard to beat a team 3 times in a year.
Don't have to beat them now, do they?
Well, if they win it. Look at it. In fairness, they're the 2 strongest teams in the league this year. In that Division 3, they've been going really, really well. Both of them went really, really well in the outside competitions as well. So, Fastnet, it was a big win for them to get back on after losing to Ballymurn in the Leinster Junior Shield the week before. So, look, it would be great to see Ballymurn going as well. They've had a real good kind of period there the last 2 or 3 years. So, look, it'll definitely come down to the wire and with them too.
And then TJ Murphy's Division 3A, the first result here, Peter, top of the table clash. Unusual to see so many goals in a top table clash ended. Blackwater winning 8-5.
Definitely 13 goals anyway. It's very unusual, yeah. Obviously a cracker of a game. Blackwater have came back well since they came back into the league. They've established themselves quite well. They're doing well. Like Rosstown, likewise. Like Rosstown are well up there as well. So look at but it's just a mad game. 5-8 is just unbelievable.
Played fully goalkeepers. First one back.
Yeah.
Shoot from anywhere.
Referee would have been busy anyway.
So he would have. And then just with All Blacks or Blackwater coming back into the league. Rosslare Strand as well this year, just back into the league, and they beat United 3-1 there. So it's great to see the 2 of them clubs, because I would have remembered Blackwater being in the league for years now. They left it for a few years, but it's good to see them and Rosslare, because we would have played against Rosslare Strand in the Premier a while ago, or maybe it was in a cup. Maybe it was definitely. It's good to see him there, though. You know, they were always a strong club down the Strand.
Team that slipped up this week, well, maybe not slip up, was 2-2 draw with Bree and Bunclody. Bree, who had been flying, but I suppose Bunclody been quietly doing very well this season. In fairness, they're beating.
Bunclody are in 4th in that, so like Bunclody was probably a must-win more for Bunclody than Bree, just to keep themselves in and around the hunt. But look, at Bree scoring 2 again up in Bunclody, sure they'll be happy enough with the point.
And then the Kennedy Craft Butchers Division 4, Ross Birkin beating Cairn 2-1. And then top of the table clash here, just reopened this title race. Gorey beating Ferns 3-1. I was at this game, Nicky. I have to say it was a very enjoyable hour and a half. Cracking game. A massive crowd had actually for an afternoon game. I have to say, for a Division 4 game as well, I wasn't expecting it. It was Garrett was reffing it. I'd say it was a difficult one to ref, but he done a very good job on it. It was imagine top of the table clash. It was tense. It was thing that stuck out for me with Gorey was I think it was 2-0, and then Ferns got back to 2-1. Looked like Ferns were going to score next, but they made 2 or 3 substitutions, and it struck out to me as Gorey C team. You wouldn't expect the subs maybe to have as an impact. It actually completely changed the game the two chaps completely. I think they actually scored. One of them scored the goals. The other chap hit a post for one that got the other goal. They were just the subs were outstanding when they come on for a C team. Like, you think it's just because they show the conveyor belt of players. I think they have in that club is phenomenal.
I should look at their underage structure, just the amount of players, and like I would have never heard from about it before. I don't know, Peter, you might have, but like Gorey were very, very close to putting a 4 team into the men's league this year. It was only the last minute where it was pulled, and I think it was more to do about the pitches than the number of players. So if you've somebody producing that amount of players, like what they're doing with their underage structure, like you're going to, and each one of them, and they're just a club going. Momentum is massive in clubs. You see it, man. You have a momentum. Everybody's pulling in the right direction. Everybody's going the right way. And Gorey are in the middle of that. Their first team are flying. Their second team are flying. Their third teams are flying. So everything is just going right for them at the minute. And you just said, like, look, it was a must-win game for them. If Ferns had beaten, that was it. The league title was done.
There was a friend of mine from Kilkenny at that game. He actually thought it was a Division 1 game.
No, it was good. It was very good.
He said the standard of it was excellent. He said.
You look at that Ferns team. There's Johnny Dwyer, Tonks, and these lads like.
But Johnny Dwyer was late. I think his young fella was playing in the Irish final handball. I think he didn't come on until the last 20 minutes, so he made a difference when he came on.
And these lads,
John Breen actually was excellent.
Yeah, John Breen. Like, these lads are like, I know some of them are maybe getting on, but these lads would have played their whole career in the Premier League and Division 1, and they've been winning Neil O'Sullivan's and things like that. And the same, I had a quick look down through that Gorey team. A lot of them young lads would have won underage league titles and things like that. So both of them squads would know what it's like to win, and you'd be a guy now if you took them lads not serious.
Yeah, I think that's what made the game interesting. You had Ferns more experienced team and Gorey being a younger team, but no, it was a cracking game. And so it was tense and the tackles were flying in it.
Garrett loved that. Referee the way he played. Oh, let the tackles go.
Yeah, and a big thing on, I think, Gorey's facilities. I think you said there are a lot of games lost during the weekend. I think they had an international game there Friday. That's right, under 15s. Imagine those games there Saturday. Their B team had played there before him, but when that game was going on and on the back pitch, you had Wexford playing the Midlands in a under 13 interleague game. It's a fabulous facility down there now, in fairness.
And their women were playing at home Sunday as well, so like it was a busy place.
I look at the pitch up there is unreal. I'll be honest now, the Oscar Traynor game is going to Curraclaw, but I would have loved to have seen it up in Gorey because the surface up there is just unbelievable.
Move on into Butcher's Best Division 4A. You put the kite bash on Shelburne last week. They lost 3-0 to Fort Celtic. Another team on top of that. Bridge Rovers 8-0 to Wexford Bows. Kilmore 1-0 Ross Celtic, and Joseph's 3-2 win again came. When you see them results, I think Fort Celtic the big winners that day in that division, Nick. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So yeah, Nibs and the lads will be happy with that one. All right.
Yeah, and in the Streamline Technologies Division 5. Castle Arkle 0, Core Rambler 6, Camolan 7, Bree 1, Tegris Wexford Celtic 1, Tom Brack United 4. Good win for Tom Brack, Peter.
Yeah, their B team, like I think I even said it the last time I was on this, their inconsistency is the only thing that's killing them from being challengers. Like Wexford Celtic are third in the table. So that was a good. They went 1-0 down, like Tom Brack did, and were able to come back and win 4-1. It was a great win. They're delighted with it. A little bit more, if they could get just a little bit more consistent with the results, I think they would be challenging for promotion. But it's probably too late now at this stage in the season. But who knows?
Yeah, no, big win for him. Big win for Camolan. Did you predict that game at the top, Aidan?
No, I finished it with Castle Arkle.
You predicted big things for Castle Arkle this year. It hasn't got the plan for you.
Marsh on her back to you, Trent.
When I look at that Castle Arkle, obviously they'd be disappointed. Cora beat them 6-0. Where was that game played? Was it in? I don't think Castle Arkle are home yet, so could have been reversed down to Cora Ramblers on the Astros. So I look at the big winners in that, Gorey Celtic, look like they're going to run away with that division, and they're wanting to come in on the show, so hopefully we'll get them in the next couple of weeks and hear how their season have gone.
Yeah, that's all the results. The big fixture of the weekend is the Oscar Traynor game. We're not really too sure about the other fixtures. Ken picks his squad. So before we finish up, I suppose, Peter, We have to ask you about the FAI pathways, new pathway document that came out. What can you tell us about it? Or
Well, look at
Nothing.
no. I suppose the best way to explain it is, like, there's been a lot of talk about it since it came out. Been a lot of questions, been a lot of comments, a bit of criticism, a little bit of excitement. It's everything. It has brought the imagination up on it. There is going to be a lot of consultation. It's a concept document. There's no other way of describing it. This is probably what is visualised as being the ideal scenario for Irish football going forward. And that's a 12-year plan. And as we all know, 12-year plans probably will stretch into 15. I think some of it will come to fruition, some of it probably not. But there's a lot of consultation going to go on. And it has started conversations now, and it has started, like, I'm involved in 3 meetings over the next week and a half, just specifically about it. There's going to be a lot more. So look at it's kind of exciting. People will be worried about it. People are looking at it and saying, how is this going to affect my league? How is this going to affect my club? Is this good for us? Like, if you're probably going to sell it as regards unplayable pitches, they couldn't have picked a better time to release it. Like, it's you can't just play at the moment or get any run of games going. But look at it, it's going to create lots of talks, lots of people with opinions, and we'll see what will come back over. There will be changes to the document, but we'll see.
Yeah, look, I've read the document now, not thoroughly, but briefed over it. So a lot of the finer detail in it still has to be kind of fine tuned.
Yeah, and it's going to look, and no matter how you look at it too, like, it's aimed at, if you read the document in great detail, and I'm probably saying more than I said I would say about it, but it's like a lot of it is aimed at the underage game, and and how that reacts to it will then kind of dictate what happens with in the older sections of it all, sort of thing. Like, when it comes up into we say even youth, under 19 and up into adult. Like I said, yeah, it's a big document. I think there's it's an 80 slide presentation. When I was lucky enough to see it twice in 3 days, but it was actually good, because when I saw it at the EGM, it was actually a lot of information to take in at the one time. And then we were at a meeting in Dublin, in Lucan, about it on the Monday night, and you could kind of hone in on the stuff that you really wanted that was going to affect us as the amateur game. So look, I'll keep you up to date with it.
You're going to come in 2 weeks' time, are you?
2 or 3 weeks' time, yeah.
So anybody who has any questions now, start texting us in what you want to bring up with Peter over the next 2 weeks. You
said there about the younger age group. After reading the document, I actually really do like what's in it about the 5-year-olds to 11-year-olds. I think that's good, the fact that they have a plan to have them have an organised soccer 12 months of the year. I think that is definitely needed. We heard anyone looking at the Champions League coverage during the week would have seen Kevin Doyle being critical of it over the calendar year thing, and he explained about in Wexford, and I mean, Nicky tipped on it a bit last week. I said about Wexford having been 3 main sports. I can see why people are a bit weary of it, and I suppose even bringing a bit more localised. Enniscorthy, my fear in Enniscorthy would be that we might end up making the rugby club. When you know yourself in from around Enniscorthy, how strong Enniscorthy rugby club, they're in the IL League, their minis is probably outdoing any other sport organisation in the town. Fair play to them. I suppose that's just a little fear around the calendar year. I think anything else in it, I think, is you'd not expect, but it's anything else in it is good. I suppose that's the only little fear I have, is the calendar thing. And maybe we just have to just go, as you said, we're calling games off left, right and centre at the moment.
Look, it's hard to tell, like, and it's probably the one thing, like, in my role, but like, I'm dealing with the amateur side of the game only, which is the adult, and it probably would be causing the most concern there. So that's probably the one thing that's coming at me the most, is that, look at how is this going to work? Will it work? It won't work. Like, that's what they're actually everybody is saying. But it is very much, I suppose, when it was put together, and it's an excellent document, to be fair to Mark Canham, I have to, and I'm not just saying to look at that for kudos and points and all that, but he actually did put a lot of work into it. It's very well put together. It's very detailed. It's actually almost too detailed to try and get your head around it at the first go or the second go or even the third go, and that's why there's going to be so many consultations, and the LFAI are going to go back out to the leagues and discuss it in more detail with them as well, even definitely in regions and all this sort of thing. So look, there will be a lot about this in the next couple of months.
Perfect.
Now that we do have you flown, who's getting the Irish job?
Oh, well. Well,
when Peter's pay grade.
Once yourself and Nicky turned it down, it left it wide open again. So I don't know where we're going to go after that one. We're going back to the drawing board.
So I hope I was ahead of him now.
Just take it what you got yourself and your set the two of you. That's all. We were
going as a package.
You were coming as a package, yeah, because that worked really well the last time.
Really well.
It did. Until I realised
no name for us now.
No, there's no names yet. No. There's lots of media names. Like but the media kind of. I don't know whether the managers put their names to the media themselves just to get themselves interested, or whether they actually media just need something. Like there's lots of media, and if you
Anthony Barry's name will probably be coming up now.
I will come back up again. It'll come back up again. Yeah, look, and if you were to ask me as a personal choice, I would like to see him getting it, but I don't know if that's what interests him.
Yeah.
Who would you want to see getting it, Nick?
I don't know. I genuinely don't see the big fra for Lee Carsley.
I do. Like, so I'd like to get him.
I don't see it. Like, he's done it with England's under-21s, but sure, he's dealing with the best players in a massive big country. He's won a European Championship, but like he's dealing with
kind of selling him there, by the way.
Sure, but he's dealing with the best Premier League players.
Yeah.
Like look at the squad he had going
but they're
through.
At the age where they're still lead coaching, and that's where the Irish team.
I don't know. For me, I didn't get the whole lot of it. I don't think he's the one that's producing them week in, week out. Like they're all coming from Premier League clubs and things like that. They're coming to him for a fortnight. So maybe somebody like Kieran Barry, is it Kieran Barry? Anthony Barry.
Yeah.
I was calling Kieran Anthony Barry, where he's coaching these lads week in, week out. So I prefer to see somebody coming from a club structure that are doing it, especially if they're going to be a new coach. But like, what's the harm in seeing like somebody like a John O'Shea or Richard Dunn or somebody like that, maybe just completely off the ball. If we can't get Lee Carsley or we can't get Anthony Barry, why don't we give it to have? They'll have a massive follow-on from the Irish supporters just because of who they are, and like you get surrounded.
They're not going to listen to us, anyway. So.
Well, surround them by the right coaches.
Yeah.
You know, like at the end of the day, Jack Charlton, best manager we probably ever had, but he wasn't a coach. You know,
yeah.
so
look, it's an interim manager going in for the two games that are coming up against Switzerland and Belgium. So like, there's no panic. Look, and I like the idea that there's no panic. Like there's nothing really competitive this year until we hit the Nations League in September, and
we might not be competitive after the first game in that.
that's what it is. But it's important though that they do probably, like, it's kind of a unique job in its own way as well. Yeah. Like it's not going to be it's not in England and it's not in Italy or Spain or anything, but still at the same time it's an important job and it's a big job.
Yeah.
And it's probably important that they pick the right person.
And it's also, look, you want a manager who's wanting to go in there. If Lee Carsley wanted that job, he'd be there now. I genuinely think that. Like they're on about a little few pound here and there. If he really wanted that job, and there's 250,000, as you hear in the media, the difference in his coaching staff and this, go in and add bonuses to your contract. We win this many games, we qualify for this. You wouldn't be long about getting your bonuses done then. So if you don't hit the bonuses, then you don't deserve them. So there's loads of little things that could be done.
Nicky on a negotiation table.
Oh yeah, no better man. Look, I suppose the problem we're starting to hit now as well, that we're so lower down in the rankings that when we go into the pot for the draws, we're going to come out as in pot 4 and pot this, and that makes it a slightly more difficult. But actually, going back to Mark Canham again, when he was actually doing his presentation for the EGM on the pathway thing, it's very difficult to come from pot 4, but it can be done. But seemingly in the last 6 World Cups, there's only been 4 countries that have actually qualified for all 6.
Oh. So, but you know something, actually I don't think it's a bad draw for this, for whoever does go in, like the Nations League, like, because you obviously have Greece, Finland, but you have that massive game against England.
2 games.
Yeah, 2 games. So if you can pick up a point,
Stadium will be full for the first game.
Yeah, but if you pick up a point or a win off of one of the 2 of them games, the gulf is massive, but like the rivalry is 50-50. So you're hoping that our rivalry will get a performance out of the Irish team that night, and you pick something. And if a new manager's in straight away, if he can get something out of that first game, he has the love of every single Irish supporter behind him.
And it's not that difficult to get back up. Like, we're number 60 in the world at the moment. Like, it's not hard to get back up around the mid-30s, for example, which improves your chances everywhere straight away.
Well, we always kind of were in around the mid-30s.
Well, yeah.
Look, thanks for coming in, Peter. Enjoy having you in a couple of weeks where we can drill more into the pathway.
You're not getting it as easy now in a fortnight's time.
Looking forward to it. Thanks very much.
No bother.
Thanks, Peter.
thanks everyone for listening. And remember, the big game this week is in Coraclow at 3 o'clock, Wexford versus Sligo Leitrim. Thank you.